Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another installment to the PokeRebels Best Team series. This time around, I'll have Pokemon Black and White 2, and although I already did Unova's first set of games, the newer games offer not only changes in the gyms to beat, but also a massively improved encounter roster. With all these changes, it will be very interesting to see what the best team has become. The rules for this challenge are, I will also use no version exclusives, so although I will play on Black 2, all of the following will be equally doable on White 2. I start our adventure by getting out of home and finding Bianca, who gently offers us a choice of 3 starters. As I mentioned in our Black 1 counterpart to this video, there exist 2 schools of thought regarding Black and White starter selection. The Bacon School, which uses firepower and meaty defense, and the Sushi School, which uses water creatures with slashing knife precision to warrant an encore from the audience. I am a follower of the Sushi School, which believes in Oshawott, but this time around, I decided to pick Tepig, both because I already did a Samurott run in Black 1, and to try something new, especially since Tepig is by no means a bad starter. In fact, I believe more people like Tepig than Oshawott, but I digress. So, lo and behold, Pokemon number 1, Zangief the Tepig, gets into the team. Using Tepig, I managed to get into the ranch and help find the stray herdier. Now it's time to backtrack and challenge Sharon, the first gym leader. However, I will need some more power to get through Sharon's team than just Tepig, who is yet to become a fighting type. The ranch has a few decent Pokemon such as Riolu, Lillipup, and huge power Azumarill. Lucario in particular is great, and I'd be into playing with it, but I like having a team that is convenient to level up as opposed to the friendship grind that Lucario is for a Pokemon that shares a type with both Emboar and another Pokemon I will catch later. The Pokemon that I opted for, however, is none of the aforementioned Pokemon. Pokemon number 2, Blocka the Mareep. Mareep is a Pokemon that evolves decently early, has good stats and moves, and does synergize decently with all the other stuff I am planning to get. This makes it the best choice in our opinion out of what I have, though the Pokemon I talked about before are worth exploring if you're into using them. As a side note, Sewaddle is the best Pokemon for the first gym specifically as it can solo easily. Against Sharon, I start off pretty good, but going in underleveled because I thought the level cap was 12 as opposed to 13. But nevertheless, I use Blanca to 1v1 Patrat. Once Lillipup comes along, I cripple it with T-Wave and use Growl to cancel the attack boost. Once Mareep then falls and Tepig goes in, after a back and forth that was extremely close thanks to the puppy critting a tackle, Tepig persevered and managed to win the 1v1 and the whole game. Going at level 13 would have made this a bit better, but the main suboptimal play on our part was not giving our team Oran Berries. But the squad was good enough to just win as it is, which is great. Next up, I go straight into Burbank City, home of the rock and rolling new gym leader, Roxy. By the way, didn't Pokemon already give us Roxanne? They probably could have come up with something different for this one, I don't know. Regardless, the guitar girl leads with a coughing and I lead with a Blanca that is now a Flaffy. I slowly but surely use Thunder Shocks to kill the poisonous blob without getting poisoned in the process. This makes the next part quite trivial, as this Whirlipede's whole point is to Venoshock poison target. A little bit of Blanca damage followed by a super effective Zangief finish seals the second gym badge. After filming what is certainly the most boring movie of all time, I can go to Castelia City, where I will get our next partner Pokemon and the Relic Castle portion accessible from there. Enter Pokemon number 3, Vega the Drillbur. Once again, I will be using Excadrill. Excadrill is, in our opinion, the best Pokemon in a playthrough of this. Great stats, learn to stab early on, massively good typing, readily available, and even gets Rock Slide by level up for added coverage and Hone Claws and Swords Dance for sweeping chances. Truly a no-brainer choice that made us disregard all other ground types from the get-go. Even though some of them such as Hippowdon or Claydol were not necessarily half bad, but come on, you know the drill. Our team of 3 also happens to match the number of Pokemon on our next gym leader foe, Berg. I will lead with our trusty Zangief and its fire moves, one-shotting Swadloon for a lead on the gym leader. Dweeb comes in. I go Vega and spam super effective Metal Claws. Thanks to an attack boost, I managed to edge out a KO even after Berg healed his bug. Leavanny is last. Go back into Pig and one fire move is all that it takes. 3 badges so far, so smooth. After a short and uneventful trip through the desert that is Route 4, I head straight into the 4th gym and the stylish yet mighty Alisa. Once again, I kinda mess up the level cap by going 1 level below, which, despite sounding small, is kind of tragic, as Flaffy could have been an Ampharos instead, which is regrettable. Regardless, I use Blanca to trade blows and status with the annoying Emolga, getting the gym leader to use her healing item in the process. Once Emolga Volt switches out, I switch out as well to have a Pig versus Sheep match, which also happens to be dragged out until Alisa Volt switches yet again. I stay in for a couple turns, then I go Flaffy. Alisa Volt switches and I have a Sheep Ditto. I manage to land a static on her own Flaffy before going back into Pig and finally getting a KO on something. Emolga comes back in and V switches, inviting the big cheese striker. This is what we were waiting for. I sit in Vega, our ace for this gym. 1 dig is all that it takes to take the horse down given Drillbur's respectable attack stat. Emolga is back. I click Hone Claws into a Rock Slide and win easily. Ampharos would have made this quite a bit simpler, but Drillbur is the GOAT, so I was fine regardless. And speaking of being fine, it is time to catch not 1, but 2 of the finest Pokemon I can find in Unova. Pokemon number 4, Chun-Li the Ducklet. Swanna might not be the first thing that comes to mind when talking about the best Pokemon one can get in this game, but it fills the niche of being a Pokemon that can use both Surf and Fly. Surf was particularly annoying to us in the theory crafting stage of this run, as even though Black 2 offers some of the best water types ever, a lot of them are locked behind Surf, which is learned mostly by water types. Swanna is also by no means the worst Pokemon ever, as its typing is very solid, synergizing particularly well with Excadrills, and it gets access to Roost by level up for some utility, all while having that precious double HM factor. But I'm not done improving our team. For once I get to Driftvale City, the former Team Plasma Same offers us another warrior for our squad. Pokemon number 5, Zorua. In Zorua, which I unfortunately are not able to nickname, is one of the best dark types you can get, which is very important given what the Elite Four is in this game. It had good offense and speed, and illusion for pulling shenanigans on the AI. The one you're given is also particularly good, as it has 30 IVs across the board and a hasty nature, making it an incredibly goated instance of Zorua. The boosted experience gain coming from it being technically In's Pokemon originally as opposed to your own does definitely not hurt either. The only downside to this guy is that it will only learn physical moves by leveling up, but that's by no means a deal breaker, as Zoroark has 105 base physical attack, which is pretty decent, and the ability to learn Dark Pulse by Move Tutor. Foul Play is another great option to hit high physical attack foes, which is always fun to play with. Now that I have a whopping 5 Pokemon, I can challenge the gym leader number 5, Clay. Against the Krokorok, I lead with our new but trusted Duck and 1v1 the Croc with Bubble Beams. See you in a while, Croc. Clay goes right into the Ace Exca. After spending way too much time debating what to do, there is footage of me going back and forth between my Pokemon and checking stats and stuff. I go Ampharos, the least relevant Pokemon for this fight, and sack it to Slash into Bulldoze. I then hit our own Excadrill button. I outspeed with Dig and manage to one-shot. Pretty nice. Last and probably least is Sandslash. I go Ducklet to dodge a Bulldoze, then 2 Bubble Beam seals it. A pretty convincing victory with our massively improved squad thanks to the awesome Duck. And speaking of awesome ducks, the next gym leader is attempting to do the impossible, to out-awesome duck us with the Swanna of her own. Eager to show her how foolish she is, I lead Ampharos into her Swoobad. After being flinched way too many times by Heart Stamp, I managed to T-punch her for almost a one-shot. Minus attack nature is not fun. Skyla heals, and I go for a pair of T-punches for a win. Skyla sends a Swanna and Bubble Beams us. I tank it barely, and a T-punch KOs this time easily. Last but not least is Skarmory, so I make sure to make a point by going to the more awesome of the ducks involved. Actually, swan is not a duck, it's a swan. Shut up, dude, no one cares. And use that to win the battle. 6 badges in, and I'm still rolling. I go on a ride a plane, get through a volcanic mountain to a beach, you know, the usual stuff, and find ourselves in Undella Town. Now, I would have just continued our way through Open Lucid, but surfing the waters of Undella might lead us to what is the final boss of our team. Pokemon number 6, M. Bison the Staryu. Now, this might seem odd given the fact that I do have a water type in our team, but Starmie is a goated Pokemon. It has pretty nice stats overall, recovery, and insane coverage. I was setting out to have a psychic type in our team for Marshall, and Starmie might be the best one overall. Maybe if you happen to play on White too, you can use Reuniculus instead, but again, no version exclusives are allowed to us. Moreover, our 2 water types only share one weakness, which I have Excadrill and arguably even Ampharos for. Now that our team is complete, I am absolutely ready to destroy the remainder of the Unova region like it's nobody's business, and the next gym leader to feel the wrath of our complete team is Drayden. The man leads with Druddigon. I lead with Eska and 2-shot the poorly designed dragon very easily. Flygon is next. I go Swanna to dodge a ground move and 2-shot with Serve, taking a super effective Rock Slide in the process. Last but not least is Haxorus. I go Excadrill to wall it. This Haxorus for a late game gym leader is an extremely disappointing excuse for an ace Pokemon. It has Dance, a goated setup move, but the only stab to take advantage of that is freaking Dragon Tail, a move that completely defeats the purpose of setting speed up and opens this sweeping monster to getting chipped down. Dragon Tail is more geared to defensive play, and a not so bulky Pokemon should have had something else like Dragon Claw or even Dual Chop. Game design ranting aside, I 2-shot the defenseless Dragon Ace and win a 7th gym badge. After delighting our eyes with the most freaking epic cutscene Pokemon ever had, and dealing with some plasma grunts, I head to Undella and the underwater tunnel, which is also an instance of Unova having stuff way more epic than it has right to be, almost compensating for the disaster that is the Pokestar Studio thing, and get to the beautiful city of Humalau and its laid-back gym leader Marlin. As I apparently know how the type chart works in this video game, I lead the electric type Pokemon against the water gym leader. I click Discharge as the Caracosta survives on Sturdy and Shell Smashes, but as I braced ourselves to take a massive +2 attack to the face Ampharos, a Pokemon with quite modest speed just casually outrun a +2 speed stat Caracosta. Timid nature's coming in clutch, maybe? Who knows? Next up is the biggest Pokemon ever. Wailord. I almost KO with the Discharge and have it bounce. I stay in and take it as it's not very effective, but get paralyzed. After a few turns of Ampha struggling to do anything good, it finally figures its stuff out and lands a move to beat up the ace. Then comes Pringles Man, also known as Jellicent. I let Ampha fall to Brine, then go Zoroark. I do more than half with a Night Slash as I get chipped by Jelly. However, I did not realize that the UI for move selection gets reset by illusion breaking, setting our cursor on Fury Swipes. This is honestly very dumb, and there's no reason it should be this way, but regardless, Jelly gets a free turn to recover. I chip it once again as it kills Zoroark with a Brine, but even the poorest UI designs cannot save Pringles Man from Excadrill mighty EQs, getting us the 8th and final badge. Now that I have all 8 badges, it's time to give this run the finale it deserves. Time for the Elite Four, and to spice things up, I am not gonna heal between Elite Four members, excluding the heal between the final Elite Four member and the Champ Iris because Homegirl do be pretty tough, so it's 6v20 gauntlet time for our squad. I start off with Marshall and send in Starmie. I click Psychic on the throw into Ice Beam for an easy first blood. Minshao comes in. I'm probably faster, but I'm not willing to risk it, or even worse, actually do the calc to find out. So I go Excadrills as Minshao U-turns on us. Conk is next. I go Starmie again and recover on the ace as it stone edges. Once I have enough health, I go for a double Psychic for an easy KO. Minshao is next. This time, I opt to trust our speedy star, but I go for an arguably suboptimal recover as opposed to just fragging the thing in front of us. Minshao U-turns again into Sock. I try to recover, but Payback is very strong and means I cannot out-heal the guy, so I just get it down to Sturdy and sack the star. I go Chun, Surf Sock, rock, then fly up as Meanshao whiffs a high jump kick and crashes. Swanna comes down on the Meanshao, getting us our first Elite Four win, at the cost of not having Starmie for the remainder of the fights. Next up is Chantal. I lead Zoroark and use Nasty Plot turn 1 as the Kafa burns us. However, Zoroark easily one-shots everything from there, having a bit more than 50% HP by the end of the fight. And on the topic of Zoroark sweeping, I can simply do the same thing against Caitlyn, who reflects with Masharna turn 1 as I set up, but Reflect is useless against a special attacking sweep, which I easily pull off. The burn from Chantal chips Zoroark a great amount, but it more than filled its role by single-handedly doing half of the Elite Four members. Last but not least is Grimsley. I lead Vega, I Swords Dance on it, but get attracted. Will Exca be simped to death by the beautiful leopard? Nope. Exca hits right through and gets the first kill. Crook comes next and intimidates us. I use the classic Swanna switch to dodge a ground move aimed at Exca, which you probably are used to seeing now. The virtue of having Pokemon with good type synergy is quite clear. I surf, almost one-shotting the Krook, but it rock tombs us, setting itself up to be faster. I try to pivot into Exca, then back into Swanna to cancel the speed drop, but Krook crits its crunch, getting Exca very low and hindering its ability to be useful in Bisharp. I definitely could have sagged Zoroark, but I did not think of a crit chance. I let the low HP Exca faint, then go Swan again for a kill. Scrafly comes next. I use Fly for chip, then let Swan faint, sending Zangief next. I arm thrust, but I get an unlucky 2-hit, allowing ourselves to get chipped. Lastly, Bisharp comes in, outspeeds us, and crits, which I believe mattered, and defeated Pig. Our main answer, however, I still have a full health Blanca, who just spammed Discharge and managed not to also get crit, winning us the Elite Four segment of this. I definitely could have played better, but it goes to show the ease with which this team beats Elite Four even without healing and with suboptimal plays from us at times. But now is the final fight. The champion who boasts a formidable looking squad of dragons and other threatening presences. Iris. I heal our team and enter the fight. 6 Pokemon on each side, 2 trainers, and only 1 winner will come out on top. I lead Pig into Hydreigon, chipping it down with Arm Thrust and fainting. Then I send Starmie, who barely fails the KO with Ice Beam. That means Hydra gets to chip us, but at least Iris wasted a full restore, while I still kill her lead that also happens to be one of her most dangerous guys. Lapras is next. I go Blanca and easily 2 shots thanks to a lucky paralysis. Aggron comes next. I presume Iris sees a kill with EQ, but as I go Swanna, she clicks Autonomize, a massive problem. Now Rock Slide just one-shot Swanna. It's damage control time. I go back to Blanca and T-Wave Aggron to get rid of its massive speed, then I chip it down for Starmie to kill it. This not only ensures Aggron is neutralized, but also lets Iris's ace, Sash Haxorus, get in since it has X-Scissor. In this position, I know Haxo will go for the KO, so I simply Ice Beam for chip, sack the star, and let Zoroark finish with the foul play powered by the dragon's own mighty attack stat. Drud is next. I foul play and it misses Focus Blast. From here, I am guaranteed to win. Our plan was that Excadrill's Earthquake KOs Drud from this range and wall Archeops, but thanks to this 30% miss, I can simply beat the third and final dragon on Iris's team with foul play and have it finish the Archeops as well. And just like that, I won the Pokemon League and became the Unova champion. I'm really happy with how this team went out in terms of power and convenience. I believe one would be hard-pressed to find a better team to use for these games. If I wanted to go with starter Oshawott, our team would largely be similar except with a different fly use that this time does not have to be a water type. Crobat, Drifblim, and Skarmory feeling like decent options to choose from. I invite you to use these Pokemon for yourself and see how it feels to run the game with them, and if you have your own picks you'd like us to try, please tell us in the comments below. And since you're here, like and subscribe to the channel. Have a great one.